Welcome back to another video on the channel. We've reached the final stage of the 2020 ATP finals, which will be played out between Daniil Medvedev and Dominic Thiem. It's probably not the final I would have predicted pre-tournament. We had Stefanos Tsitsipas, the defending champion, Alexander Zverev, a previous champion, Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal in the draw. But it's Daniil Medvedev and Dominic Thiem who've reached the final. Both played fantastic tennis and both, in my opinion, deserve to be in the final. They've played the best tennis this week. Both players have beaten Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal, which shows you just how well they're playing. Just going to talk about both players and I'm going to give my verdict and why I think which player will win. So Daniil Medvedev is a player who I think is peaking at the right time. In 2020 we've obviously not had all the events, but since returning from lockdown he's had a very, very good back end of 2020. He reached the US Open final, losing to Dominic Thiem. He won the Paris Masters early this month. He's gone 4-4 this week, obviously beating Nadal and Djokovic as I just mentioned, and he's playing some of the best tennis of his career and does look very, very hard to beat. He's a player that I sort of want to analyse this week. I did say that pre-tournament. I think I've underestimated his variations, his skills and his overall toughness before in the past. Starting with the serve, very destructive when he nails it, really hits his mark, often serves in volleys, which is massively effective on a fast hard court. And although when he does miss the first serve in big games, interestingly I think he tries to make up for it with winners, and by that creating his own pace, which causes errors. I think yesterday against Nadal, when he missed the first serve, he often rushed the points and panicked and didn't play his style of tennis, and that saw Rafa get a couple of breaks in that match, which I think is something to watch out for. I think if Medvedev does start missing the first serve, then it's important that Thiem just gets depth and takes the pace off the ball. Ask Medvedev the question to go big, and that could see errors fly from the racket of Medvedev, but overall his serve is very, very consistent. His defence, flexibility and court coverage is just brilliant to watch. He's not just a player that gets balls back in court, he reads the play so well, and he excellently redirects play, often turning opponents' huge ground strokes into winners of his own, which can be very demoralising if you're on the other side of the net, seeing your brilliant ground strokes fly back past you for clean winners. Mentally, Medvedev is very, very strong. Nadal had won 71 matches consecutively when winning the opening set. Medvedev ended that run last night. Even when Nadal was serving for the match, Medvedev still looked confident, full of belief. He played an excellent game to get the break back. He then played a fantastic tie break to take the match to decider, and then used all that momentum that he gained to dominate Rafa in set 3. Whether Medvedev loses this final or wins it, he's had a fantastic month, making 2 finals. He's going to have a huge future in the game. Of the next gen group, I think his game is one of the least risky ones, and I think it's going to bring less errors than what Tsitsipas or Zverev would. I say that because Tsitsipas and Zverev have these huge aggressive games, which is good when it's going well, but when you're trying to hit winners and create pace, that causes unforced errors as well, and we've seen Tsitsipas and Zverev make 50 plus unforced errors in some Grand Slam matches, and that's the difference between winning and losing. And that's Medvedev's dream style to face, a player that will make unforced errors looking to go big, and someone he can counter punch against and use their pace to hit his own clean winners. And when, Medvedev's probably going to be facing the likes of Tsitsipas and Zverev in the future in Grand Slam semi-finals and finals, I do think Medvedev's defence can be a huge factor in him winning those. Moving on to Dominic Thiem. Dominic Thiem is a player who's enjoyed the best year of his career so far, in my opinion, reaching the Australian Open final back in January, winning the US Open and also reaching the ATP finals final. One of my favourite players to watch at the moment on tour. A player at the top of his game. He's confident in everything he does and beating every single opponent that he steps on court against. Sometimes produces a level of tennis that I've never seen before with his shot making, and usually a player has a more aggressive forehand or backhand and hits more winners off the forehand or backhand. With Thiem, I think they're both equally as good. If he gets inside the baseline and the ball that he can tee off to, it's not coming back. Whether that's in forehand or backhand, he just strikes them both with such precision, power, hits every shot so clean, and just a fantastic player to watch who can, destroy the ball from anywhere pretty much in the court. The Djokovic semi-final could have really went either way. We know Djokovic led 4-0 in that deciding tie-break, but that's when Thiem, played with freedom and just showed how good he is. He blew Djokovic off the court for 6 points and fully deserved to win that third set decider. Against Nadal again, he was too good in the tie breaks, and that's showing you that Thiem's developing as a player. Against the best players in the world, against Djokovic and Nadal, he's turned the tables. A few years ago it would have been Nadal or Djokovic that would have won those close sets, and now Thiem's raising his game to win those tight sets. He's got that experience now of beating opponents at their best. As I say, taking close sets against the best players in the world, winning the US Open after coming from behind in the final to beat Alexander Zverev. I don't think that'll have too much bearing on this match. Medvedev's a player in flying form. He's beaten Nadal and Djokovic this week. He's faced defeat in the eyes yesterday against Rafa before producing that great comeback. So I think mentally they're both in a great place, both confident in the games, and will have full belief going into this match. So finally, stylistically, I think this is probably a better matchup for Medvedev than Thiem, because Thiem is a shot maker. If he doesn't quite hit his straps and find the lines consistently, then Medvedev will be all over that and force errors, frustrate Thiem at times, I'm sure, by getting the ball back in court time and time again. I think Thiem would rather face a player that just has a shootout, someone like Zverev or Tsitsipas, who perhaps haven't got the best footwork and best defensive work, and will just go and try and out-hit Dominic Thiem. And Thiem from the back of the court against another attacking player is going to be, Thiem's going to dominate them in my opinion with the form that he's in. I do think Dominic Thiem has to adopt a slightly different game style. I think he has to be clever, patient, and time his attacks. Nadal yesterday had success against Medvedev from taking pace off the ball and getting depth. As Medvedev, his style is not to hit clean winners from the back of the court by moving inside the baseline. On his serve, he does like to serve and volley, but in rallies, he doesn't like to be inside the baseline, bossing the points, trying to hit clean winners. That's just not his style of play. Now, Nadal yesterday asked the question a couple of times. As I say, when Medvedev didn't quite find his first serve, Nadal asked the question, just using the slice, getting good depth and forehands and backhands, and just asking Medvedev to go big, asking him if he can hit winners from the back of the court, and that's saw the errors started to flow from Medvedev's racket. Thiem is a great backhand slice and can find consistent depth. He has to balance it, in my opinion, between playing those long exchanges very cleverly and then attacking if he senses the opportunity to take on a short ball. It's difficult to say how Thiem approaches this match really. He's playing the best tennis in the world in my opinion, hitting winners with forehand and backhand. Does he just go out and red line every ball from ball one and back himself to break through the defences of Medvedev? Or does he play those crafty slices and ask Medvedev the questions and see if Medvedev's game breaks down? It's a difficult one. Difficult match to call. It's a real 50-50. Medvedev's a fantastic player, been really impressed with him this week and he's getting some massive wins, but for me Dominic Thiem is just playing some incredible tennis and I can't see anyone defending consistently against the variation of ground strokes and power hitting. I think he can blast through Medvedev's defence sometimes, and as long as he's patient, times his attacks well, I think he wins. Medvedev has to be consistent on the first serve. Every game is important in finals. If he can race through service games and then put pressure on Thiem in service games, there's no doubt you could win this one. But in my opinion, Thiem's is too good for any player in the world on a fast hard court at the moment. Strikes the ball too well. And yeah, on a fast hard court, I think Dominic Thiem is more or less unstoppable with the form that he's in, and I think Thiem wins this one in 3 sets. But thanks for watching the video. If you have at any point this week, do follow me on Twitter. I'll be covering more events and the rest of this event, and I will be doing a live commentary from 6 o'clock on Grand Slam Tennis Online if you do want to tune in. Also do subscribe. I will be covering more events like this in the future, and also bringing a lot more videos out after this tournament. So do subscribe, like the video, and I will see you on the next one.